now have the neck nicely carved and everything sanded up to, I believe it was 320 at this point. Before we get to hand sanding and all that fun stuff, next up on the menu, so to speak, we have to fret the neck. Hey there, it is Tom here on behalf of Indie Structured Productions once again, and we are continuing on with the Great Guitar Build Off / Anniversary build. Now, getting to a certain point in the build where the lines start to blur on what step is coming next and whatnot, I have no issues with you using the chapter markers to kind of skip around the video a little bit, as long as you find the content that you're looking for. And I appreciate you just checking out the video in general, so I'm gonna get into it. This time we're gonna be working on, well, whatever it says in the title. Without further ado, let's remove that. Don't want to keep putting the neck back and forth because I don't want to loosen that joint up anymore. But where we need to start is with pre-bending the fret wire. Now also my table is way too low. There, great. All right, and now I'll see if I can get a view of this, but the fretboard turns out to have some flame on it. I don't know if you can really pick that up, but yeah, to preface why I do things in this way, like gluing on the fretboard and then radiusing it, then carving the neck, and only then fretting it. Why I fret the neck after I've carved the actual neck itself is because once I've done all the carving, the neck releases all of its like remaining tension and whatnot. Then I'll make sure to put in that tiniest amount of relief, which we're going to do in a bit, and then I'll start fretting the neck. And once all the frets are in, that's going to pull the neck together a bit more. Then we'll make sure that everything is nice and flat, and then we'll get to leveling the frets and stuff like that, doing all the fret work. I've just noticed that that really helps keep the neck true and in line. So let us check how things look currently with a straight edge. So as it stands, a bit of a back bow, and what we want is just, and when I say back bow, they're like a something of a mil, so not even notable, but a little bit of a rock. So we'll just fix that up real quick and put in like just a little bit of relief already at this point. And there's not too much that we need to tighten. A little bit of relief here. There. Now there is a fraction of relief. I'll show you what that looks like. Here, so there. Just ever so slight amount of relief. Good. Yeah, so we have a 16-inch radius, but we want to have a little bit tighter of a radius on the fret wire itself. Now there's an ever so slight bit of adjustment that needs to be done with the fret slots here, just to let the frets kind of pop into place a little bit better. So I'm going to use this triangular file and just a couple of swipes, trying not to break the binding edge there. A couple of swipes like so, which will help guide the fret in. Repeat the same process for all the frets. Essentially what this does is, well, yes, it helps the frets kind of go in place, but also avoids the risk of cracking the fretboard or putting in little splinters or something like that. A very small process that has a big benefit. Then time to measure out. First piece of wire to go in. I don't want to waste material, so I try and keep as little on the ends as possible, like so. And now, because I have binding, I need to take away some of the tang here. To do that, you use fret tang nippers, but seeing as I don't have that, I'm just going to use the end cutters here. And this will be an opportune moment to kind of gather all these pieces of fret wire somewhere into a little bowl or something so that they don't end up causing me harm. Annoying thing is getting little pieces of fret wire on your work surface. They can ruin your day quick, especially when doing final sanding or something like that. Now, that leaves a pretty nasty looking edge. So to clean that up, we're gonna use a little file. So I have this piece of wood with a little notch put into it that the fret will rest in. I can just clean that up. There, nicely cleaned up. Now to hammer this fret in place. So it's gonna sit in there nicely, like so. I'm gonna start with hammering in both ends and then starting from the middle outwards. Now what that will do, it will push the tangs of the fret in and then out so that they won't be likely to pop out at any point. Meanwhile, if I were to just hammer straight down, the tangs would go straight down and then they might pop. So I found this to be very useful. I still need to get myself a fret press at some point. There, and then cleaning everything up. There. All right, that's one down and 21 more to go. Maybe I should time lapse this. There we go. So there's my bucket of fret ends. Still need to clean up everything just to make sure that I don't have anywhere that I missed. But overall, I think that process went well. I like doing frets in this way because I end up with the least amount of waste this way. Now I've wasted about a little over 1 fret's worth of material here, which is actually pretty good, all things considered. Like, look at this. Even this isn't good enough for a first fret. Yeah, it's not big enough for that. So all in all, 1 fret's worth of waste from all this is not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right, time to flatten up the neck once again, and we could technically do fret leveling, but I'll keep that in mind for later. I'm instead going to do sand everything flush, do the bevels on the ends, and then we'll see. We'll go from there. Either level or then glue it onto the body. Fun times. And then it's time to check that everything is, once again, flat. Now, I've already adjusted this. It had, again, like with the frets, pulled everything from the middle a little bit up. So I had to, again, put in some relief. And yeah, the amount of relief that I have here is, we're talking way less than previously. Now, I will keep it as is for now. And yeah, I might build in the relief for the neck. I haven't made up my mind about that yet. That would mean that I would keep a little bit of relief and then flatten the frets, but we'll see. I might just go ahead and not do that. All right. Anywho, need to sand down the ends of the frets now to be flush with the side of the fretboard. There. That looks good. Nothing's really poking out anymore. And doesn't look like any of the fret ends are popping either, which is really good. All right, then the other side. There we go. Time to do the bevels. I used to use this sort of fret end beveling file that I got from Crimson, but it doesn't get me the angle that I want. So I'm just gonna use the leveling beam. I want to keep sanding up until I get to the binding itself, because I want to put a little bit of a chamfer onto the binding too. Almost there. There we go. Now you can hear the sound change. A little bit of a bevel on the side of the fretboard there as well. I think I might want to do a little more. There we go. That feels great. I'm just going to give it a little bit more of a worn in feel. So 320 around my finger. And just this should give it a little bit more of that played in feel. Nice. Now that's a nice little rolled edge on the fingerboard there. Let's see if I can get a close-up of that. There. You can see it at the end of the fretboard right here, where it kind of rounds over the end. Now I got that going all the way through on the fretboard here, and it feels very nice to play with that little addition. Original plan was to just get everything to this point and then glue the neck onto the body. But seeing as, you know, I have the neck in one piece and gluing it to the body would kind of be, in a way, rushing it, I decided that I'm gonna do the fretwork now while I have the neck, you know, separately, because it is easier. So the only thing I'm not going to do is the polishing. So I'm going to do the level and crowning and the fret ends, but then I'm going to do the polishing and everything else at the very end. So I think this is a good compromise between all aspects. And I decided to leave about, I guess, 1/8 of a mil of relief in the middle of the fretboard. So it has a little bit of relief built into it already. And yeah, go from here. Gonna mask up the fretboard and then Sharpie the frets, or the tops of the frets, and then get the leveling. Now, all these frets went in without fault, without any issues, so I'm hoping that I can get away with very minimal amount of leveling. But yeah, I'm gonna mask up the fretboard and Sharpie the frets, and then we'll get back to it. Time to level. As you can see, there's some Sharpie already on the frets there. I'm just going to use some 150. Not apply any pressure downward, but just let the sandpaper do the work. And oddly enough, I'm almost done. Okay. I have a feeling that this is probably the best fretting work I've done in a very long time. A little bit of a rock here. Gonna get rid of that. Ever so slightly there. A little bit here. And the last 3 frets are getting a fall away anyway, but they were fine. All right, cool. I gotta admit, I'm fairly surprised at how well this went. All right, well, time to do the fall away. So last 3 frets, a couple of layers of masking tape on the 12th fret. 2 is fine, and half of the leveling beam, and then let's do the last 3 frets. So here. There we go. Awesome. All right, time to mark up the frets again and then do the crowning. So far, I don't want to jinx it, but so far this has been the easiest fret work I've done in a very long time. The frets went in great, without issue. No popping fret ends, no popping frets for that matter. It just feels like everything kind of fell into place with this neck, which is, you know, a pleasant, if not surprising, turn of events. I mean, I say I'm surprised. It's just more, this is exactly how it's supposed to go if you do things correctly, which shows that I've had previous attempts where, or previous builds where things haven't gone 100% right. If I've had to really work on stuff a lot. Now, there, that looks good. And while I have the camera pointed in the right spot, I'm just going to do some fret ends here. Just going to demonstrate how I'm going to do that. Great, great. There. So I'm going to do that entire process with all the frets. And then we can glue the neck in. So that's going to be tomorrow. Before I glue on the fretboard... Okay, so before I glue on the neck, I'm just going to put an ever so slight amount of black stain on here, just where the neck joins the body, because it is an angled joint. And you're going to see a little bit of the neck from the front, but however, it will be very hard to do this properly once everything is joined up. So I'm just going to do it now. A little bit of black. And this also helps me kind of gauge how the masking and spirit stain will work. Because I've done this with the water-based stuff and it's been just fine. And now that I have a few different colors and masks here and there, I really want to make sure that nothing's gonna seep through. So I think the best part is to just not lay it on too thick and pretty dry. Oh, well, I have black stain all over my wall there. That's not ideal. I don't want any getting on my binding, especially black. That'll be somewhat bothersome to try and get off, so being rather careful with the application here. The end of the neck's going to be inside the pocket. It's probably going to get shielding paint on it anyway, but you know, that's probably good. And technically I can take the binding, the masking off already, because it's touch dry. Alright, good. Looks clean, and we're good to move on. Awesome. I'm going to let that dry properly before I put any glue on there, just in case if the glue actually spreads it more. So let's leave it as is and come back in just a few. I don't know why I'm always nervous about this part. I've done it a million times before. Well, not a million times before, but I've done it a fair few times before. Well, that was horrible in every single way. Before I put this in place, I'm gonna put a little bit, that's way too small. I'm just gonna put some masking tape that I can pull away so that I don't get any excess glue spilling all over the place. This will make my life a lot easier when it comes to just, you know, clean up after the fact. So that there. Now, due to the neck going into the pickup cavity, it will have a chance to slip backwards. So I made this little block that I can hammer in place, and that will lock the neck into its place. All right, nothing else to it, but here we go. Age-old mantra of enough glue. Not too much, not too little. Especially in a neck pocket. What a nice tight joint here. Now, I'm not usually one to, well, first off, yeah, LP style guitars are not really my forte, but also nothing that has the neck go straight into the pickup cavity, which is funny because now both the LP and the Strat that I made a little while ago both have this as a part of it. All right, let's get this in place. Just a little bit of wiggling and pulling. Okay, a little more. Don't want to damage my pickup surrounds here. Okay. Let's get that in place. Creating good pressure this way. Now we got to move quickly. Shoddy iron side clamps here, but just make sure that I'm on the clamping call. Yeah, a little bit of a kerfuffle right now. Not reaching the bottom here. Stop slipping. That's not bueno. Oh man, that's not good. It's never a good call when you have to do that. But do need to try this again because that did not go well. Okay, new try. I really would not recommend doing what I did, but I had to do it. Now I took away my masking tape, so now I really gotta clean things up. Fortunately, this is Type Bond. You can just clean it up with water. Oh man. Oh, I made such a mess. Need more paper. Okay, well, at least the glue up seems to have gone way better. It's just, I don't want to glue this piece of MDF to the body now. We got a far superior joint now than the first attempt. Yeah, it's never good to start panicking. It's definitely never good to declamp, but I figured that this would be far less worse option than having to steam off the neck in the worst case scenario, because that would have been awful. Looks great. I think we did it. Oh, I'm gonna go have a cup of coffee to wind down and relax with. They didn't even need the block. I don't think. Yeah. Just make sure that it doesn't come off any more than that. Just hope there's space for the pickup. We shall find out. Worst case scenario, I'll have to trim off the end of that neck a little bit. That was awful.